In the world of geopolitics, Greenland sits at a crossroads of strategic importance that few fully understand. Its vast ice-covered lands hide a treasure trove of untapped resources and strategic military advantages. Despite its seemingly remote location, Greenland holds the key to the Arctic's future, a region becoming increasingly important as ice caps melt and new shipping routes open. The bold conclusion is this: Greenland's strategic value is so immense that defending it from superpower interests, particularly those of the United States, is virtually impossible. As global powers vie for influence in the Arctic, Greenland's sovereignty becomes a point of contention, with America positioned as a formidable contender. A striking statistic to consider: Greenland's ice sheet covers roughly 1.7 million square kilometers, making it the second-largest body of ice in the world after Antarctica. This massive ice sheet contains about 8% of the world's fresh water. As climate change accelerates ice melting, interest in Greenland's resources has surged. The potential for new shipping lanes and access to abundant mineral resources, including rare earth elements, adds to its geopolitical allure. With the Arctic expected to hold 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of its untapped natural gas, Greenland's strategic and economic potential becomes clear. The implications of Greenland's strategic position extend far beyond its shores, impacting global powers and regional stakeholders alike. For the United States, Greenland represents a critical component of its Arctic strategy, offering military and economic advantages. European nations, particularly Denmark, which maintains a political relationship with Greenland, are directly affected by changes in Greenland's status. Meanwhile, emerging powers like China see Greenland as a gateway to the Arctic's resources, further complicating geopolitical dynamics. The financial stakes are enormous, with billions in potential investments and resource extraction on the line, affecting global markets and energy supplies. This geopolitical chess game places Greenland at the heart of international attention, influencing policies and alliances. This is not an isolated event. It is part of a recurring four-stage geopolitical cycle leading toward increased competition for Arctic dominance. As the Arctic ice continues to recede, we enter a phase where strategic positioning and resource control become paramount. This cycle involves exploration, exploitation, military presence, and diplomatic maneuvering, each stage building upon the last. Greenland is central to these dynamics, acting as a focal point for competing national interests. The outcome of this cycle could redefine global power structures, influence energy security, and alter international relations at a fundamental level. Greenland's geographical position makes it a strategic asset of immense value. Located between the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans, it acts as a gateway between North America and Europe. This position not only facilitates military and commercial shipping lanes, but also plays a crucial role in global communications infrastructure, including undersea cables. The island's proximity to the North Pole makes it a critical site for satellite and missile defense systems. Control over Greenland means influence over these major global pathways, making it a coveted location for global powers looking to assert dominance in the Arctic region. Greenland's economic potential is vast, primarily due to its untapped natural resources. The island is believed to be rich in minerals like zinc, lead, gold, and, most importantly, rare earth elements crucial for modern technologies. These resources are essential for manufacturing electronics, renewable energy technologies, and military applications. As global demand for these materials increases, Greenland's economy could become a significant player in the supply chain. Additionally, the potential for oil and natural gas exploration further enhances its economic prospects. The economic development of Greenland could alter global markets, particularly if new shipping routes through the Arctic become viable. The military significance of Greenland cannot be overstated. As an Arctic stronghold, it provides strategic advantages for early warning systems, missile defense, and military logistics. The Thule Air Base, a U.S. military installation in northern Greenland, serves as a key node in the U.S. missile defense system and a critical surveillance point for monitoring the Arctic and North Atlantic regions. The base's location allows for rapid deployment and response capabilities, essential for maintaining security in the increasingly contested Arctic. Greenland's position thus enhances the United States' strategic military reach, making it indispensable in the context of global defense strategies. Environmental factors in Greenland play a crucial role in its strategic importance. As climate change accelerates, the Arctic's melting ice opens new shipping routes, reducing travel time between major global markets. These changes present both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, the shorter routes can significantly lower transportation costs and increase trade efficiency. On the other, the fragile Arctic ecosystem faces unprecedented risks, with potential impacts on global weather patterns and sea levels. Additionally, the environmental changes are prompting new international regulations and cooperative agreements as countries strive to balance economic interests with environmental protection. Historically, Greenland has been a point of contention due to its strategic position. In the early 20th century, Denmark strengthened its claim over Greenland in response to international interest, particularly from the United States. In 1933, the Permanent Court of International Justice recognized Danish sovereignty over Greenland, solidifying Denmark's control. This historical milestone set the stage for future geopolitical maneuvers and highlighted Greenland's importance in international law and diplomacy. The decision also underscored the island's value as a geopolitical asset, influencing the policies of countries with Arctic interests. During the Cold War era, Greenland's strategic importance was further amplified. The United States established Thule Air Base in 1951 as part of its defense strategy against the Soviet Union. This base became a critical point for the U.S. early warning system, capable of detecting ballistic missile threats from across the Arctic. The Cold War tensions underscored Greenland's role as a strategic military asset, crucial for monitoring and maintaining security in the North Atlantic region. This period marked a significant chapter in U.S.-Greenland relations, highlighting the island's enduring significance in global military strategies. In recent years, Greenland has become a focal point for geopolitical interests, particularly from major powers like the United States. A significant development occurred when the U.S. announced an increased financial investment in Greenland, aimed at bolstering infrastructure and fostering economic ties. This move is widely interpreted as a strategic effort to counterbalance growing Chinese and Russian interests in the Arctic region. America's financial commitment includes investments in airports, ports, and telecommunications infrastructure, which are crucial for both civilian and strategic military purposes. The increased attention on Greenland is not merely about economic interests, but also about ensuring strategic military advantage in the Arctic. The U.S. military has long maintained a presence in Greenland with the Thule Air Base, which serves as a critical asset for missile defense and space monitoring. This recent financial investment underscores the U.S.'s long-term strategic interests in maintaining a strong foothold in the Arctic, a region rapidly becoming more accessible due to climate change. These developments have significant implications for Greenland's autonomy and its ability to navigate complex international relations. Diplomatic engagements between the United States and Greenland have intensified, marked by high-profile meetings and official visits. In 2020, the U.S. government reopened its consulate in Nuuk, Greenland's capital, for the first time in over half a century. This move signifies a renewed commitment to enhancing diplomatic relations and underscores the strategic importance the U.S. places on Greenland within the Arctic region. These diplomatic efforts are not solely about fostering economic partnerships, but are also aimed at solidifying military alliances and ensuring a stable geopolitical presence in the Arctic. During these meetings, discussions have focused on mutual interests such as climate change, sustainable development, and security cooperation. The U.S. has also been vocal about supporting Greenland's self-governance efforts, balancing its strategic interests with respect for Greenland's autonomy. These diplomatic exchanges highlight the delicate balance Greenland must maintain between nurturing foreign relationships and safeguarding its sovereignty. The increased diplomatic activity signifies the geopolitical chess game being played over the Arctic, with Greenland at the center of strategic international interests. Greenland's vast natural resources are a significant factor in its geopolitical significance. The island is rich in minerals such as rare earth elements, which are critical for modern technology, including smartphones, electric vehicles, and military equipment. Access to these resources is a major driving force behind international interest in Greenland. The US, for example, is keen on securing a stable supply of these critical minerals, reducing dependence on other more volatile sources. The mining industry in Greenland presents opportunities but also challenges, as environmental concerns and indigenous rights must be balanced with economic development. Greenland's government is tasked with navigating these complex issues while leveraging its resources to foster economic growth and enhance its global standing. The strategic importance of resource access extends beyond economics, as control over these resources could shift power balances in technology and defense sectors globally. As such, Greenland's natural wealth places it at the heart of a geopolitical tug-of-war, with major powers vying for influence and access. Greenland's strategic location makes it a focal point for military strategy in the Arctic. The island is located between North America and Europe, providing a critical vantage point for monitoring air and sea traffic in the region. The U.S. military, for instance, operates the Thule Air Base, which offers significant advantages in terms of early warning systems, missile defense, and space surveillance. This military presence is not just about defense, it's about maintaining a strategic edge in an increasingly contested Arctic. As ice melts and new shipping routes open, the region's military significance will only grow. Other nations, such as Russia and China, are also expanding their military capabilities in the Arctic, prompting the U.S. to reinforce its own strategic positions. Control over Greenland means more than just geographical advantage. It involves the ability to exert influence over Arctic politics and security. The military dynamics in Greenland reflect broader global tensions, as countries vie for dominance in a region that is rapidly changing due to climate shifts. As the Arctic ice recedes, new trade routes are becoming navigable, significantly altering global shipping dynamics. The Northern Sea Route, for instance, offers a shorter path between Europe and Asia than the traditional Suez Canal route. Greenland's proximity to these emerging routes enhances its strategic value, as control over Greenland could provide key logistical advantages for international shipping. The implications are vast: reduced shipping times and costs, increased access to untapped markets, and enhanced economic opportunities for countries that control these routes. However, the opening of these routes also presents challenges, including environmental risks and the need for international cooperation to manage them sustainably. The competition for control over these routes is intensifying, with major powers eyeing Greenland as a potential hub for Arctic shipping infrastructure. This shift in trade dynamics is a critical aspect of Greenland's geopolitical significance, influencing global trade patterns and economic power balances. Alliances and partnerships are crucial in the context of Greenland's geopolitical landscape. As a semi-autonomous territory, Greenland's foreign policy is largely influenced by Denmark, which maintains control over its defense and international representation. However, Greenland is increasingly asserting its own diplomatic identity, seeking to expand its network of alliances. The U.S. sees Greenland as a strategic partner in the Arctic, which is reflected in their increased diplomatic engagements and investments. This partnership is not only about bilateral relations but also about forming alliances that can counterbalance other powers like Russia and China, who are also vying for influence in the Arctic. Greenland's growing diplomatic interactions with other nations highlight its desire to play a more active role on the global stage. These alliances are pivotal for Greenland to leverage its strategic position, navigate international pressures, and pursue its aspirations for greater autonomy. The evolving alliances in the Arctic are shaping the geopolitical landscape, with Greenland at the center as a key player. Let's summarize the key points we've discussed. First, Greenland's rich natural resources, such as rare earth elements, make it a significant focus for global powers seeking technological and strategic advantages. Second, Greenland's strategic location is critical for military operations, particularly as new shipping routes emerge due to melting Arctic ice. Third, the evolving trade routes through the Arctic increase Greenland's logistical importance, offering shorter and more cost-effective shipping paths. Finally, Greenland's role in international alliances highlights its growing diplomatic influence and the strategic interests of major powers. Each of these factors contributes to Greenland's central role in Arctic geopolitics, underscoring the complex interplay of resource access, military strategy, trade dynamics, and alliances. Next, we'll delve into historical comparisons to provide context on how similar geopolitical dynamics have played out in the past. Historically, the Arctic has been a region of strategic interest during times of global tension. During the Cold War, for instance, the Arctic was a crucial theater for US and Soviet military operations. Greenland played a key role as a strategic outpost for radar installations and air defense systems. The lessons from this period highlight the importance of maintaining a strong military presence and alliances in the region. The Cold War also demonstrated how Arctic geopolitics could shift global power balances, with the Arctic serving as a strategic buffer zone. Today, while the context has evolved, the underlying dynamics remain similar. Nations are once again recognizing the Arctic's strategic importance, with Greenland at the center of these interests. The historical precedent of the Cold War provides valuable insights into current geopolitical maneuvers, underscoring the cyclical nature of Arctic geopolitics. Another historical parallel can be drawn from the era of European exploration and colonial expansion. During the Age of Discovery, strategic territories like Greenland were highly sought after for their potential to provide access to new trade routes and resources. The competition for dominance often led to complex alliances and conflicts. Similar to the past, today's geopolitical interests in the Arctic are driven by the potential for resource extraction and new shipping paths. Historical patterns show that controlling key territories like Greenland can significantly influence global trade dynamics and power structures. The Age of Discovery also teaches us about the importance of sustainable exploration and the impact of human activities on indigenous populations and the environment. These lessons are increasingly relevant today as nations navigate the geopolitical landscape of the Arctic, balancing economic interests with environmental and social responsibilities. In the best-case scenario, international cooperation prevails in the Arctic, with nations working together to ensure sustainable development and resource management. Greenland, leveraging its strategic position and rich resources, could become a leading hub for Arctic research and innovation. This scenario envisions a collaborative approach where major powers, including the US, Russia, and China, prioritize environmental protection and indigenous rights while pursuing economic opportunities. Greenland could benefit from investments in green technology and sustainable infrastructure, driving economic growth and enhancing its global standing. The successful management of Arctic resources and trade routes could lead to stable geopolitical relations and foster a new era of Arctic diplomacy. This scenario highlights the potential for the Arctic to become a model for international cooperation, balancing economic development with environmental stewardship and social responsibility. In the base scenario, Greenland remains under Danish sovereignty, with a continued strategic interest from the US but without any aggressive moves. The US enhances its diplomatic relations and economic influence, leveraging Greenland's geographic and natural resource potential. This scenario assumes diplomatic agreements that bolster US access to Greenland's resources and strategic locations. Such agreements might include increased military presence or joint ventures in mining and energy sectors. Economically, Greenland benefits from increased investment and infrastructure development, potentially leading to improved local employment and economic growth. However, this scenario maintains the status quo of Greenland's political status, with Denmark retaining formal control. This approach allows for a peaceful balance of interests where the US secures its strategic priorities, while Greenland and Denmark benefit from economic opportunities. The worst-case scenario involves escalating tensions that could lead to a geopolitical conflict over Greenland. In this scenario, the US attempts to exert more direct control over Greenland, possibly through economic coercion or political pressure, leading to a breakdown in diplomatic relations with Denmark. This could trigger international criticism and potential economic sanctions against the US and Denmark. The local population of Greenland might face economic instability due to disrupted trade and investment flows. Additionally, this scenario could lead to increased militarization in the Arctic region, potentially involving other global powers like Russia and China, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. The environmental impact could also be significant, with increased military activities potentially harming Greenland's fragile ecosystem. Critics argue that U.S. interest in Greenland is driven by outdated Cold War-era strategic thinking, which may not be relevant in today's geopolitical landscape. They suggest that the focus on Greenland's strategic location overlooks the importance of modern multilateral agreements and alliances that could be more effective in addressing security concerns. Moreover, critics highlight the environmental risks associated with increased military activities in Greenland, which could damage its unique ecosystem. They also point out that any attempt to exert control over Greenland could backfire, leading to diplomatic isolation and potential conflicts with other global powers who have interests in the Arctic region. An alternative perspective suggests that Greenland could become a neutral zone with international oversight to prevent any single nation from dominating the region. Proponents of this view propose that Greenland's resources and strategic location could be managed by an international consortium or through United Nations involvement, ensuring equitable access and environmental protection. This approach could foster cooperation rather than competition, reducing the risk of conflict. The idea is to transform Greenland into a model of sustainable development and international collaboration, which could serve as a precedent for other disputed regions globally. However, this proposal faces challenges in terms of sovereignty issues and the willingness of major powers to cede control. The geopolitical dynamics surrounding Greenland have significant global implications. As a region rich in rare earth minerals and strategic military locations, control over Greenland could shift the balance of power in the Arctic. This balance affects global trade routes, military strategies, and climate change policies. The involvement of major powers in Greenland could lead to increased tensions in the Arctic, impacting global peace and security. Additionally, how Greenland's resources are managed will influence international environmental policies, as the region's fragile ecosystem is crucial for global climate regulation. The way Greenland's situation is handled could set a precedent for international cooperation or conflict in other resource-rich areas. In conclusion, Greenland's geopolitical significance cannot be understated. Its strategic location and resource wealth make it a focal point for international interest, particularly from powerful nations like the U.S. The scenarios discussed highlight the complexities and diverse outcomes that could arise from competing interests in the region. It's imperative for global leaders to approach Greenland's future with diplomacy and cooperation, balancing strategic interests with environmental stewardship. By fostering international dialogue and sustainable practices, the potential for conflict can be minimized, setting a global example of how to manage contested regions peacefully. Thank you for joining us in exploring the intricate geopolitics of Greenland. If you found this analysis insightful, please subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into global issues. Share your thoughts in the comments. How do you think Greenland's future should be managed? And if you haven't already, hit the like button and share this video with others who might be interested in understanding the complexities of international relations. Stay tuned for our next video where we'll explore the role of emerging technologies in reshaping global power dynamics. This content is designed for educational purposes only and should not be considered as personalized financial or investment advice. The geopolitical scenarios and analyses presented are speculative and intended to provide a framework for understanding potential international dynamics. We encourage viewers to conduct their own research and consult with licensed professionals when making decisions that could impact their financial or strategic interests. Always consider your own situation and objectives before acting on any information provided in this video.